Hey guys, this is Evan with Backwoods Adventure Mods. We're here today at Open Road Campers in Fayetteville, Arkansas. We just installed the front bumper on the 2019 Sprinter. We did our roof rack and the new ladder. And today I want to walk you through a step-by-step of how to do our rear swing-out bumper system. Alright guys, the first step is to take all the factory stuff off. If your van is equipped with the trailer hitch, you can take it off. It makes it a little easier to get to the hardware, but you definitely don't have to. You'll have the trailer plug if you have the hitch. We'll have to cut that off at some point. This van has the step, we'll unbolt that as well. And then we'll start removing the plastic. Okay, to start taking off the plastic bumper cover, there's going to be a plastic rivet behind this big piece of trim that we'll take off, and then a couple on the underneath, and then finally there's some torque screws around the perimeter of the door seal. We should have checked before we started, but we just now realized that this van has the blind spot sensor system, so that's the only thing keeping us from removing the bumper at this point. We'll have to unplug the wiring harness. Instead of removing the hitch, we're going to choose to leave it in place through the process, and we're going to take out the OEM bolts and replace it with our bolts facing outwards so that we can just hang the brackets on the new bolts. We're going to relocate the trailer plug into the new bumper, so we'll need to cut off the original bracket. So we have everything removed from the van that needs to be removed. We have the hitch hanging by a few bolts, and now we're ready to start assembling the bumper. You want to put anything in the bumper that's going to be installed in the bumper now. It's so much easier than when it's on the van. That includes the backup lights. For this bumper we have the Pathfinder LED backup lights, any of the wear pads, the trailer wiring plug that you removed, the shocks, and the sensor kit. Okay, so we have the bumpers set in place, adjusted, centered left to right, and then we have the height gap adjusted the way we like it. And we've got all the bolts tightened down, and now it's time to start installing the swing arms. These are actually the pivot point for the swing out system. They're labeled with a D or a P for driver and passenger. They should come with the bearings and seals pre-installed. We use these gigantic 3/4 inch grade 8 bolts installed from the top down. And don't forget to use Loctite when you tighten them. If you want the right side door to open first, which is what we recommend, you'll put the overlap plate on the right side, the passenger side. What you don't see is we've already adhered our rubber strip to the plate, and that's really just a cushion. So a couple of random parts that are just easier to show in a video than to describe. Let's start with this one actually. This is the latch catch. It's what the actual handle of the latch will catch into. There's a couple countersink style 1/4 inch bolts. This is the stopper for the first swing out, whichever one you choose to close first, which in our case will be the driver's side. It has a little pad that goes on it first, and it actually bolts to the bottom, in our case, of the driver's side swing out. Right here in these slotted holes, and the holes are slotted for adjustment. So the installation of the latch itself is probably the trickiest part to actually explain, but it's not that hard to do. These teardrop shaped latches, catches I guess we should call them, they're what actually hold and put pressure on the doors. So again, none of your hardware should be tight yet. You want it to be loose so that you can actually adjust everything. We'll drop the latch rod all the way down. And we're just gonna temporarily tighten the top to hold it in place and keep it from falling. The bottom should be pointing the same direction as the top. And you want to bring it up so that the latch rod just barely sticks out the bottom. Right now I have it flush. And slide it up until it comes into the holder for it. Then we can loosen the top and drop it into place, and that'll hold everything together. With the lobes pretty much in line with the door, the last step is to drop the handle into place and tighten it down. This will require a little bit of adjustment once we have the rest of the bumper assembled. So at this point, the basic installation is done. Not all the hardware is tight. This is the time that you want to spend a little bit of time getting everything adjusted to where these doors look parallel. You don't want them too high or too low, but there should be just a little bit of drag when these ramps meet the contact pad. Just a little bit. They should close pretty easily. In fact, if there's not much drag, that's probably good because you're going to add a little bit extra weight to it. So from this point, we'll adjust everything a little bit more and then tighten it down and start adding accessories. Okay, so we're hooking up the air springs. These are going to hold the doors open for you. If you're on a hill, they assist it open a little bit, but they are a 90-pound pressure, so you want to grab a friend for this part. Alright, that concludes the install of our 2019 Sprinter rear swing out bumper. Just to recap, we removed all the OEM plastic, wiring, parking sensors. We upgraded the hitch mounting hardware to grade A. Then we reinstalled the hitch, installed the bumper mounts, we hung the bumper on the mounts, and then we started to install the swing out hardware, and then finally the accessory panels, the latch, and then did a final adjustment, got it all working smooth, tightened everything down, and now the customer can install toolboxes or whatever he wants. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us.